Good morning, friends. It's Going to Ground with me, Andrew Rumsey, with the bars of morning sun breaking through the hedgerow here on a crisp morning walk in Wiltshire in England. And you find me on my birthday, groundlings, and it's been quite a week. Every last section of the day boxed out in the calendar, so I haven't been out really all week, and so I thought I'd take the opportunity to post. And this is an interesting little stretch. I don't know if you'll get, with the glorious sunlight, I don't know if you'll be able to see, but you know I love a lost route, and this is a sort of sunken lane that has quite clearly been used for hundreds of years, and the sunken lanes always dip down. They got this usually leaf filled rather path in the ditch, and but this is interesting because it stretches up, well, quite a few hundred yards up behind me, and then this way it just comes to a dead end. And actually, if you walk up to the other way, it's a dead end there as well. So it's not a route to anywhere now. It's blocked off, and it's just this sort of trench that the badgers use, and is to no purpose but just a memory of a route. Anyway, it's been a good week, a full week, as I say, but really good actually, with some stimulating, some testing situations, but some real interest as well. And one of the highlights was visiting Wyvern St Edmunds Secondary School in Salisbury, where I had a lovely tour of the school and was speaking to nearly 300 12-year-olds, year 7 pupils, which I haven't done for ages. So was a little bit daunting, but actually I really enjoyed it, and it warmed up into a fascinating conversation. And as always in school, you get deep questions from the children, and insightful ones, surprising ones, some silly ones. But one of the questions asked was what church is and what it's for. And that was a really good question for me to hear, because I spend so much of the time engaged in trying to keep the church going and with the immediate task in front of my nose, that I don't always stop to consider why are we doing all of this? and so I thought about that, and I remembered what school was like for me, and I didn't really secondary school was quite a difficult time for me, and but the thing I really enjoyed most of all was the school play, and that's where I found my identity really as a teenager, and in the annual productions which I took part in, like many of you will have done. And so I talked to the children about that sense of excitement, that the thrill of being part of working together for a production that you're about to stage. And the production itself, the drama, is like everyday life, but in a heightened sense. It's usual situations, but lit with music and lyrical language, and you don't usually just break into song in everyday life unless you're on Going to Ground. And that sense of rehearsing for a coming production, I said that at its best, church feels to me something like that. That we are not an audience, we're part of the cast, we're invited into the cast, and we're preparing for the way of life that is to come. And so I said church is a rehearsal space for the kingdom of heaven, which must have been a bit baffling, but I did explain it by recourse to the school play, and said that when church is doing what it should, we are practicing ways of life that are performed before a watching world, that we're meant to be living in role as Christians. Not that we're faking it. The metaphor doesn't, you can only carry it so far. But we're learning the habits, learning the discipline, learning the teamwork that enables us to perform truly and faithfully the drama of salvation. Of course, when Lent comes around in a couple of weeks' time, that's what Lent is for. It's the intensive rehearsal time for the passion drama of Easter. And so it was a really helpful and thought-provoking day for me to talk with the children about that. And together we explored what it might mean and what those values might be in a kingdom where the poor are made rich, the unloved find a home, where the lame are enabled to walk and the blind are able to see, and where all of those who've lost their place are given one. God bless you, friends, as you go to ground.